Dealing with a loved one with narcissistic traits causes an unbelievable amount of pain and confusion. Some of their behavior is unconscious, but in this video I'm going to help you understand what we might call mind games. In other words, when you're being deliberately fucked with. I'm Chris, and this is Free Range Phoenix. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to give you the 4 most common ways that people with narcissistic traits deliberately destabilize their partners, spouses, friends, and even children. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you can grow your understanding and eventually lead a narcissist-free life. As you may know, people with cluster B personality disorders, narcissistic, borderline, antisocial, histrionic personality disorder, suffer from an underlying emptiness or sense of shame, whether or not they're aware of it, that leads them to seek a high level of control of the people around them. You'll probably notice in your own life that whether good or bad, our strongest emotions are experienced in relation to the people we're close to, and it's no different for the narcissist. As I said, there are quite a few ways that people with these disorders subconsciously manipulate those around them, and if you want me to explore those in another video, let me know in the comments. Today though, I'm going to give you the 4 most common forms of manipulation which are done deliberately and consciously. In other words, these are the real red flags. I want you to understand that narcissistic people go through the narcissistic relationship cycle of idealization, devaluation, and discard. If you're witnessing any of these 4 behaviors, you are already in the devaluation stage. They don't do this to people they're idealizing. If you're seeing these behaviors, you're already in a dangerous position. If you can possibly hear this message and you have the strength to do it, get away from them. So here are the top 4 mind games to watch out for. Number 1, lying. In my experience, narcissistic people are prolific liars. They not only do this to manipulate the people around them or cover themselves when their impulsive behavior gets them into trouble, they lie when telling the truth would serve them better. They also lie to keep options open and keep you on the hook when they haven't reached the discard phase. I once had a narcissistic girlfriend who booked a holiday without telling me. I was at home when her tablet started vibrating on the table, showing booking confirmations. When I asked her about it, she told me she'd booked to go away with her friend and her friend's dad, female friend, even though she must have known I had seen she had booked to share a room with a male work colleague. When I eventually brought that up to her, she denied it. When it finally dawned on her she'd been caught out and I knew everything, she decided to throw barbs and tell me that she didn't want me to know because she'd intended to meet up with other men on her trip and act single. We finally got to the truth. In these situations, it's unlikely they're going to discard you because your positive or negative attention is still enjoyable for them. And unfortunately, the trauma bond will probably not release you, despite understanding that this behavior is despicable and you should run. Another time, a woman at work took my phone charger home in petty revenge for me telling her to leave me alone within earshot of other colleagues. I texted her and told her to return the charger to me because I needed it. She went to work the next day, went straight to our boss's boss, and told them with fake tears that I'd been trying to get her back to my place and I'd been harassing her at work. The only reason I didn't get fired was because my version of the story, the truth, made more sense than hers did. Number 2, gaslighting. I want to clear this up once and for all. Gaslighting is different from lying. Narcissistic individuals do both, but there's a difference. If someone comes home from seeing the person they're cheating on you with, and they tell you they worked late, that's a good old-fashioned lie. If someone comes home from seeing the person they're cheating on you with and reminds you that you'd given them permission to do so, you have been gaslighted. And that's the correct past tense, not gaslit. Gaslighting is intended not simply to mislead you, but to make you question your own sense of reality. They want you to believe them instead of your own eyes, ears, and memory. Another personal example, I once visited a narcissistic ex while they were living in Japan. After an argument in which they became physically abusive, and I was forced to defend myself, they made to call the police. I said, please do, because they're going to take one look at this and understand exactly how these marks happened. She said, I'm going to give myself marks and tell them you did it. You did that to yourself. I don't know why you even came here. I didn't invite you. Chris, it's all in your head. That shit is fucked. If you hear anything even close to this, don't tolerate it. I don't mean set a boundary, I mean get away. These people can ruin your life. Number 3, pranks. Similar to lies, but solely for their entertainment. The example that comes to mind is when I was sitting in a bar with my ex and she told me she'd left her phone back at the apartment. I went back to get it and I couldn't find it, and when I returned she was sitting there using the phone. Whether she just wanted me gone for a while or what, I don't know, but when I asked her why she'd sent me home when she had it all along, she let the mask slip and she said, "I just love the effect I have on you." Again, it's disgusting behavior. Don't accept the justification that it's just harmless fun. If it's at your expense and it makes you feel shit, that wasn't an accident. Listen to your feelings. Listen to your feelings. Number 4, the silent treatment. This is a mind game, but it's also a form of revenge. When you're not acting as the narcissist wants, they'll use the silent treatment liberally. The purpose is to cause you distress. If they weren't confident of how much it was going to upset you, they'd do something else. It's often used as a way to punish you when you dare to call them out on their behavior, and it's meant to train you not to do so. They want to show you that if you make them feel uncomfortable about their behavior, they're going to withdraw attention from you in the most complete way. It's extremely distressing, and it can lead to all kinds of mental and physical issues, because by that point in the relationship, they've tapped into some very primal needs in your psyche. The unconditional love you got in the early phase of the relationship is being intermittently withdrawn, which is enough to drive you crazy by itself, but if you fight back against this abuse, you're going to be cut off for a few hours or days while they reach out to other, better behaved sources of supply to drown any remorse they might have felt about mistreating you. When they finally return, you're going to be willing to accept any behavior. It's literal torture. They have no moral center, no empathy, and they only care about how they feel. If you misbehave, the limits on what they will do in retaliation get weaker and weaker. I want to reiterate that the effects of this behavior on your mental and physical health can be severe and long-term. If you're watching this, you've probably seen some of these already and you're questioning your sanity. You're struggling with the cognitive dissonance that comes from trying to keep the high highs and destructive lows in your brain at the same time. My advice is not to try. If you've seen these behaviors, you're likely already experiencing the effect of adrenaline and dopamine swings, which lead to actual chemical addiction to the most dysfunctional relationships and the cruelest people. I know from personal experience that it's hard to get away, but if you possibly can, you should go no contact. You feel like you're going to die if you don't see them anymore, but that's not true. You can't begin to heal until you stop taking the poison.